Arsenal injury updates on 3 players post-Portsmouth. Christian Mosquera is closing in on a return, and there's nothing to worrying about in William Saliba and Leandro Trossard's weekend absences, according to a report. Arsenal made plenty of changes for Sunday's FA Cup over Portsmouth, but it wasn't entirely clear ahead of the game whether a couple of those selection decisions might have been enforced by injuries. Hincapie was certainly out through injury, with Mikel Arteta confirming afterwards. Obviously he had to come off against Liverpool, which is never a good sign, but hopefully it's not too much time out. But Arteta didn't explain why William Saliba and Leandro Trossard had both missed out on the squad too. And in a further piece of good news, the same source claims Christian Mosquera has stepped up his recovery and is now closing in on a return. Though Arsenal's injury list isn't particularly long anymore, it's concerning that it contains 3 defenders. Other than youth midfielder Max Dowman, all of Arsenal's injury concerns are at the back, with Ricardo Calafiori, Mosquera, and Hincapie all missing. That's partly why it's such good news that there's no problem for Saliba. Calafiori and Mosquera aren't meant to be out for too much longer, but Arteta has consistently given vague answers when it comes to their possible return dates. Despite the good news on Mosquera, it's still unclear exactly when he'll make his comeback. It seems we'll only know for sure when they'll be back when they rejoin the match-day squad for a game. Seeking a second knockout success in a matter of days, Arsenal hit the road to face Chelsea in Wednesday's tantalising FA Cup semi-final first leg. The Gunners have dispatched Port Vale, Brighton and Hove Albion and Crystal Palace to progress to the Final Four, and they are now just 180 minutes from a Wembley showdown with either Manchester City or Newcastle United. Mikel Arteta's men head across the capital on the back of an emphatic FA Cup success too, coming from behind to see off Portsmouth 4-1 in the 3rd round, thanks to a Gabriel Martinelli hat-trick. Here, Sports Mole rounds up all of Arsenal's latest injury and suspension news ahead of the clash with Chelsea, who battered Charlton Athletic 5-1 in Liam Rosenior's first game in charge over the weekend. Hincapie sustained a muscular injury of unspecified severity against Liverpool last week, and having missed the trip to Portsmouth, the Bayer Leverkusen loanee is a major doubt for the first leg. Ricardo Calafiori has been dealing with an awkward muscular injury for the past few weeks, and Arteta has already admitted that the clash with Chelsea will likely come too soon for him. Christian Mosquera hurt his ankle against Brentford in early December, and while the Spaniard should return imminently, he should not be at Arteta's disposal for the first leg. Max Dowman's first senior injury setback came in the shape of an ankle issue and under-21s friendly last month, and there is no time frame of the 16-year-old's return. Mikel Arteta faces the media ahead of his Arsenal side's League Cup semi-final first leg clash with Chelsea, with updates expected on injury news and the status of key players like Ricardo Calafiori, Hincapie and Christian Mosquera. Mikel Arteta faces questions from the media ahead of Arsenal's clash with Chelsea in the League Cup semi-final. Arteta will be speaking at the Sober Realty Training Centre ahead of the clash with their London rivals. The two sides faced off at Stamford Bridge earlier in the season, when the Gunners were without both starting centre-halves. Despite Moises Caicedo being sent off, the two sides played out a 1-1 draw. Kai Havertz has returned to the pitch for Arsenal and missing 30 matches, having injured his knee against Manchester United in the opening match of the current campaign. After a collision with Manuel Ugarte, the German international felt something, but finished the game. It turned out to be worse than expected, and the forward required surgery. Despite there being hope that he would be out for a matter of weeks, the former Chelsea man has missed more than 4 months of action. It came having missed more than 3 months at the end of the previous season after a serious hamstring problem sent him under the knife for what would be the first of 2 procedures that year. Arteta has always been so praising of the 26-year-old, saying in a recent press conference that he loves the player and what he brings to the team.